Well, Ashley Lawson, I think is your last name. I'm guessing.
Davis.
Ashley Davis. So sorry, I already messed up on the podcast.
That's okay.
You work for Lawson
Air conditioning and plumbing.
And thank you for stepping up to the line. So
Happy
I know
to be
it's a little windy and a little chilly. I would have never thought I would have said that about Georgia, but we're not in the
It's
sun.
April. It's unpredictable here. I also have my snowsuit in my car just in case. The swimsuit is on the back seat too, so prepared.
Oh my goodness, I love Georgia. Well, you and I have talked a little bit here over the past weeks, just connecting and talking about your company and what you guys do. So you are an HVAC company. You do plumbing, HVAC, and we're going to get into that and some of the history of your company. You just mentioned some things that I think are pretty cool that we need to talk about. But Ashley, you had gotten into this trade, and tell us a little bit about. You currently hold the role of, and I know that you love titles. You're going to love that I say this, but you're the Chief Operating Officer of your company, which means you probably have your fingers in a little bit of everything.
Wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Wear a lot of hats.
So how did you get there? What was it, when you were a little girl, were you like, you know what, I want to run an HVAC company?
That's actually exactly what it was. Absolutely. No, I originally thought that I was going to be a lawyer, so started school when I graduated high school as a pre-law major, and thought that that's what I was going to do, and then got a little bit down that track and was like, I don't think that this is where I'm meant to be. Didn't necessarily feel a calling driving that direction, and so at that point I was working with the company and took a step back and said, okay, well, what do I want to do? What am I good at? Where do I really excel? And it kind of came full circle that what I enjoyed the most was the business aspect of things in those conversations and the critical thinking, the strategic planning piece of an organization. That it was still challenging, but just in a different place. And so I ended up graduating with a finance degree. I do like numbers. My worst subject in school was math, so I don't know why when you put a money sign in front of it, it gets better.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was horrible. I was good at geometry, but horrible at math, but I love accounting.
Yes.
I don't know what it is.
Just clicks in my brain, and so graduated and ended up coming on full-time with the company. So I worked at Lawson part-time through school. Was looking to make a change my freshman year of college, and had what at that point was a boyfriend, if you even want to call it that. We hadn't even put a title on it, about 6 months in, and my husband's grandfather started the company in 1946, and it's been around for a minute.
That's 79 years.
A minute.
So I made it like I just did really good math in my head. She told me earlier, so yeah.
It's okay. I always have to kind of do my mental math. I'm like, all right, what year is this? They all start to run together after a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we all sat down. They had an opening for an admin assistant, and I was looking to make a change from what I thought was my forever career in more of like a real estate, property management compliance side of things, which is kind of where the legal piece of that all kind of fell into place, and ended up not being the best place for me or where I was going to be long term. And I figured that out and was like, okay, well, I'm going to work through school. I need to find someone that's going to be willing to work with my schedule. And it was flexible. They said, okay, sure, we'll make it work. We'll do whatever we need to. So I went to school, worked part-time while I was there, and then would as soon as I was done with school, would pick up going full-time in the summer, and which was for an HVAC company, prime time, and worked out really well.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And so the schedule was nice, and then it ended up, I just stayed on and couldn't imagine being anywhere else. The graduation was around the corner, and it was like, oh, well, what now? And at that point, my husband had proposed, we were engaged, and it's like, well, this all was falling into place a little too well, but I don't want to go anywhere else. And they were like, we don't want you to go anywhere else. So when I graduated, moved into more of a marketing kind of business relations, workforce development type role, which is what I really enjoy doing. And it's fun because in a family business, being around for 79 years now at that point, been at the company for almost 10 years now. But we have 4 different divisions. So we have a commercial plumbing division, a commercial HVAC division, our service division that does HVAC and plumbing from your residential all the way up to your large industrial places. And we have a residential HVAC division. So a lot of moving pieces. Yeah. And at that point when I came on full-time, we were sitting at maybe 68 full-time employees, which was holding pretty strong and pretty regular. And now, 10 years later, we're sitting at 98 full-time employees.
Wow.
And so have had a lot of growth, which is super exciting, and have a I'm not biased about it by any means. We have the best team around, and I think that's what I enjoy the most. And so I get to wear a lot of different hats and do a lot of different things, and my days are never dull. That's for sure.
That's something about the trades in general that I think people don't realize is it's never boring.
Oh no.
Yeah,
oh, no.
You're always. So I love problem solving, and I think that's one of the things that I absolutely love about what we do is there is always. We like to say that they're not problems. They're solutions that we haven't found out yet.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, we're always looking to be a solutions-based organization, not a problems-based organization. And I think that's the thing when you work with a team of people and you can collaborate like that and come up with those solutions, it's just fun.
It is. I cannot tell you, people tell me all the time, like, oh, I could never work with my spouse.
Well, I was going to ask you that. So you guys do work together?
Yes. So my husband is our vice president by title. He also oversees our commercial divisions, and so he's our commercial HVAC division manager in his day-to-day, and then sprinkles in the vice president hat here, or the business owner piece here, or the phone number somebody had saved in their phone when they needed an HVAC person or a plumbing person, whatever it may be. So he works there. I also work with my in-laws. So my father-in-law is the president of the company. And then my mother-in-law is the CFO, and she and I call ourselves a little dynamic doer. I mean, we do everything together, and anything she does, I can do. Anything that I do, she can do, and it works really well. But I lucked out with in-laws, and I have really, I'm in a great place. It's a lot of fun. And then my brother-in-law also works at the company, and so it is a full family affair. Nepotism is not dead for us. It is a real thing.
I love it.
But so my husband's grandfather started the company in 1946. So his mom is Debbie Lawson Davis.
Okay.
So that's where the Lawson piece comes in.
Okay. So help me and help those who are listening. It's a little windy. My goodness. What is the secret sauce to? That's a lot of family to be working with, and clearly it's working.
It is.
Because people can't hide that. And this is a video podcast, so if you're listening, you can watch and see what I'm talking about. People can't hide that in their face when they talk about it. Mm-hmm. And you have nothing to hide. I can see that. It clearly is working well. What do you think the secret is to that? Because a lot of family businesses, that dynamic can be really complicated. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys do differently?
It's not always perfect. I can definitely attest to that. There are some days when we're a little more quick-witted, and my husband and I have conversations where I'm like, I'm talking to you as your coworker right now, and you're pissing me off. But as your wife, I think you're great. Oh, you're doing a good job, honey. But I think that for us, we're all very authentic with each other all the time, and what you get during one part of the day or wearing one hat is the exact same thing you're going to get the next day wearing a different hat. And so I think that everybody being really authentic makes that piece easy. We've also made sure that we have some boundaries. So my husband and I do not drive to work together, even though we're going to the same building. Yeah. It is very rarely that we see each other through the day. He's really busy. I'm really busy. Unless we have division meetings or a meeting scheduled, it's not often we see each other. Or if something just catches on fire and figuratively, and literally, we'd probably talk at that point if something was literally on fire. Right. But unless something kind of goes haywire, we usually see each other in passing when he's like on his way to the break room, and I'm like, your lunch is in the fridge. So I think that helps it work, but it is nice.
I think boundaries are essential, just period in life.
Oh, 100%. And so we talk on the phone when we leave work, and we talk about work, and we catch up on the day, and the minute we pull into the garage, literally typically at the same time beside each other, we look at each other and we say, okay, we're done. And we hang up the phone, and then we don't talk about work unless it is something that is just like absolutely dire. Took us about
tremendously
3
wise.
years to figure it out before we were both like, if we talk about work one more time, I'm going to lose it. And so and there are some days when you don't get to turn it off, and that's part of being in a family business, being in a small business. Small is a relative term, and I understand that. Yeah. But you don't always get to turn it off, and being a business owner, you don't always get to turn your phone off. If I get a call at 2 a.m., I'm going to answer at 2 a.m., and there are some days it's just part of the call of duty, and it's, if you love what you do, then it's not a burden. Yeah. The only burden that we view is making sure, we're carrying on the legacy that L.D. Lawson set back in 1946.
Which was?
Making sure that you were doing the right thing, the right way, every single day. And Our creed, I would say word for it, but it's got a couple lines, but I'll kind of give you a synopsis. So quality equipment is a big piece of it, making sure that it is backed by the highest caliber of employees, training, and it is backed by every person in the company. So even though we have people within the company that wear the same logo, but they're in a different division, we make sure that our culture reflects the fact that it doesn't matter if you're in one division or another, or you're wearing this hat or that hat, it's the same umbrella, and we're all working towards the same goal of making sure that the customer is happy, whether that be customer in vendor sense, customer in a homeowner sense, customer in a GC sense. Like, you are doing the best job that you could do that day, and every single person that wears a Lawson logo is backing you.
Come on.
And so I think that that's a big piece of what we do.
That's an interesting shift from family to team, which I think is unique. I think as businesses, and maybe I'll offend you here when I say this, because you have a lot of family in that company, but it's like, I think as businesses, sometimes we get lazy and we say, oh, we're a family. But I think we really need to be talking about we're a team, because not every family is different. It is different. And it's like the importance of having a solid team behind you and supplying that team with what they need. It sounds like you guys really have captured a grasp on that.
Well, so. I mean, for us, the most important part of our company is our people.
Yeah, it is your greatest asset.
And truly, and I feel like that's such a cliche. Like, people say that all the time, like, oh, like, we love our people, they're our biggest asset and it's important. Okay, well, do you actually mean it?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't just look at people and their careers for us. Like, I want to know, where do you want to be in life? Like, what are your milestones? How do we help you get there? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to build a house?
Yeah.
Do you want to get your license? Like, whatever it may be, like, what can we do to help set you up for success? Not just when you're wearing our logo and you're in your work setting, but how do we make sure that you're winning in life? Because if they're winning in life, then it's going to come back full circle. They're going to be a happier employee. They're going to want to be a part of it. I mean, there's no bigger win for us than when our people are succeeding. And whether that be like, hey, I had somebody tell me one time they wanted to be a race car driver. I don't necessarily know how to become a race car driver. I can Google it and I'll do some research, but I've absolutely helped people find houses before. Like, hey, my lease is ending and I need to be in this area, in this bracket, and I'm having a hard time finding it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's sit down, let's find you a house.
Absolutely.
And that's what we've done, and that's because we don't care about our people and always what the revenue they're producing or what they're bringing into the building, but what are you bringing to the culture?
Absolutely.
Are you willing to be a team player? Are you going to stand behind every other person in the building and everything that we're all putting our hands on and want to make sure that it's done right, whether that mean it's your responsibility or not? Do you have that call to action just kind of naturally? And I mean, there really is nothing better than seeing them win outside of that. And once everyone kind of gets that going, you have that culture, you have your senior technician who is mentoring a trainee or a new technician. And when they see them moving up in their career, there is nothing that gets them more fired up when they're like, oh my gosh, this trainee was here 18 months ago and he's rolling out into his van and I made a difference in his life. And that's exciting.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question because we're already rolling into what I want to be talking with you about. And I love what you're talking about because that is so fulfilling and satisfying as a leader, to be investing in people like that. And when you do that, it's such, I don't want to say it's not a noble thing, but it's smart business. Because when you do that and you have those win-win-wins and your employee is winning at life, that makes them a better employee.
100%.
You know, which makes them more effective for you and the team and how you're moving forward.
For sure.
So Ashley, the question that I want to ask you is, what is a tool or a piece of gear that you just can't live without, that you absolutely have to have?
So I have this electronic notebook. It's called a Remarkable.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I would probably die without mine. And I like to take notes. I write everything down, and I'm in a lot of meetings. I'm on a lot of calls, and people kind of joke. And if it's not on a sticky note on my desk, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
I just have to write it down. And so I tried the notebooks, and I would be like, oh, I wrote this down in one of these 12 notebooks on my desk. Give me one moment. Let me circulate through. And I'm like, well, I can't find it. And so tried the iPad. It was too smart.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this email came in, and I'm sitting in a meeting. I'm like, let me respond to this one email. Well, one email became 5 emails, and I'm like, we're 4 slides away, and I have no idea what's going on anymore. And so I was like, I need something that is smart enough to keep all my stuff connected and organized, but dumb enough to not be a distraction.
Wow, that's really good.
And so was in a meeting a couple years ago, and one of the women that was in the meeting had a remarkable, and I was like, what is this fancy gadget you have? She's like, oh, it's a remarkable, and played with it, and it's your handwriting. I also have the case that can type, because there's sometimes I can type faster than I can write.
Yeah.
I do my grocery list on the thing. I have notes from forever ago. I upload PDFs to it. That thing is my entire life. It literally has my whole life on it. I serve on a couple boards outside of work. So I'm president of the Junior League here in town, which is an organization of almost 300 women, which is a ton of fun. But I sit in a lot of meetings for that, or have like the 2 a.m. ideas. I'm like, oh, this is the $1 million idea.
Yeah.
But I have to write it down. And so if you looked at my emails, it'd be like 2:20 a.m. Ashley Davis emailed Ashley Davis, half bullet notes. And I can kind of take that and like expand on it. And so my remarkable is definitely what keeps my life in order. And I would probably be in a really rough spot if I didn't have it.
Feels like you're writing on paper.
It does.
I don't understand that. I don't understand how something electronic can feel like that.
It is.
I have to try it.
I have it in my car. I'll bring it over here too, so you can play with it, because it is great. It is wonderful, and we have a few people at our company that have gotten it and all agree it is very helpful. Just to keep things organized, and you can grab it and go, and you can add tags. You can email it to yourself. It is very helpful.
Wow. I carry a notebook with me everywhere I go. I have one in my back pocket right now. I have another one in the truck, and I do have 12 notebooks. I mean, I am that guy. But I heard someone say, if you have an idea, stop and write it down. Because, and you talk about emailing to yourself. I've done that. I've texted myself, and the importance of, otherwise it's gone, and it's just gone.
Right.
So you and I had talked previously a little bit about Lawson and your role there in workforce development, in operations, and you guys had started doing something different a couple of years ago now?
Yeah, so we're about 3 or 4 years into completely taking our typical business model and flipping it on its head and hoping for the best. And it's worked.
So this is the point where if you're listening and you're running an HVAC company, a mechanical company, an electrical company, any type of service-based trades company, I would say, where it involves passing on knowledge, training, people. If you're looking for people, and you're looking for people to understand what you do, this is the point where you really want to listen. Because I've been talking with Ashley about this, and she shared something with me that I think is a game changer. And I think it's something that other people not only deserve to hear about, should hear about, but you really need to think about having the guts to implement this like they did. And why don't you talk with us about what it is that I'm talking about?
I can do that. So the trades in general, you're talking HVAC, electrical, plumbing, whatever it may be, you have one of the biggest challenges you'll get 9 out of 10 times from somebody is what's the biggest challenge facing your company or your industry, whatever it may be. Oh, workforce.
Yeah.
It's an automatic, you don't think about it, answer. Oh, workforce.
Yeah.
Okay, well, after years of sitting in conferences, meetings, listening to other people say, oh, workforce, our workforce is aging out. We have all this knowledge, it's here. We don't have people in the middle. And you have some people that are kind of coming up and want to be a part of it because at that point there was some shift on, you didn't have to always have that 4-year degree. There was a shift to making the trades a little more interesting, and Hall County School System specifically, and Horace, like the Tool Expo, this event, has done a fantastic job of making there be some of that appeal. So we kind of had this in-between gap of how do you fill that when these people are ready to retire?
Yeah.
You have someone over here who knows nothing.
Yeah.
Or is eager and doesn't know how to do it. You can learn the trades out of a textbook, but the trades work well when you have that hands-on learning.
Yeah.
And somebody that is teaching you, oh, this little tip, this little trick, this tool works well, this one doesn't, and these little things you just learn by doing it and being a part of it. And so for us, our team kind of stepped back and said, okay, how do we make it to where we're not the ones that are always saying, oh, our workforce is our problem, but not doing something about it?
Yeah.
And so we kind of said, okay, well, what are some options? What are some ideas? And it was like, okay, well, you could pair this helper with this senior tech and maybe let him ride along for a little bit and see what happens. Okay, well, what if we took that and expanded on it?
Come on.
What if we make that a culture? And so we took that idea and kind of ran with it. And it has worked really well for us. It's been great. And so the whole idea of recreating yourself. So in order to move up, you have to bring somebody with you.
Yeah.
So we split our service division into a team mentality. So again, coming back to that team piece.
Yeah.
But our most senior level technicians who were wanting to grow people are passionate about it, and we do. Like, we are protective over the culture and the people that we bring into our organization because we want to make sure what we're bringing in fits. So you can bring in somebody that wants to be a part of the trades, but are you going to fit the culture? Because that's a big piece of it. Because for us, like, it's not you're checking a box. People that want to check a box don't necessarily serve our organization well, and our organization doesn't serve them well. Because we want people who want to truly be the best they can be for themselves.
Yeah.
And they care about more than just checking the box or doing their job or whatever it may be. I mean, we have technicians that carry light bulbs in their vehicles, and when they go to Betty Homemaker's house and her closet light or her attic light is out, they're going to go and change it. They're not going to tell her. They're just going to do it. Because they're doing it for the right reasons. And it's to make an impact and to make something better. So for us, we took that whole idea of, okay, well, we have the best of the best. How do we create more of the best of the best? And instead of trying to recruit talent, we said, we'll grow talent.
Come on, we'll grow talent.
And it's an investment.
I was going to say, that sounds expensive.
It is. It's definitely an expensive investment. And it's not just expensive from the monetary perspective. It's expensive in time.
Well, time is money.
It is. It is. And you have somebody who has a lot of knowledge and they're ready to retire.
Yeah.
And they're like, I've been doing this for decades. We have one employee, one of our longest standing employees. Lawson is the only job he's ever had.
Wow.
And he's been with us for over 40 years.
Oh, my word.
He is a wealth
I can
of
only
knowledge.
imagine. Yeah.
That man hates climbing a ladder at this point in his life.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
It is manual labor. It's hard. And so we said, okay, well, how do we buy more time from your knowledge
Yeah.
and make it to where your job's not so labor intensive? Well, let's take one of these really eager young trainees, helpers that's wanting to learn, and let's pair them together. So now you have the manual labor piece of it, somebody to learn, and it is like, okay, now recreate yourself in this very eager, willing to learn young man, woman, whoever it may be, and pour the knowledge you have after decades in the trade, learning all these different things. Now do some knowledge sharing.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. So every single one of our service vans has a helper. So it's not one person rolling up to a job. You always have two. We don't bill for that helper. We don't charge the customer for
Come
it.
on. Wow.
It is solely an overhead for us. But typically, in what we've seen, so we are on our third cycle of this sort of wrapping through. Of
What
bringing in
is
a
that
helper.
cycle? Like, what kind of time frame are we looking at if I'm looking to implement this?
It kind of depends. So we don't set, it's like an unofficial apprenticeship program. We don't set a time frame around it. We have one that we would like to see, some like mile markers.
Yeah.
But we don't say, okay, by this point you're going to do this, because to us that may not be where that person is, and we don't want to force that or push somebody out too early. Because when you push somebody out too early, you have the callbacks, you have mistakes, and you have a much more costly investment down the road. Or you have somebody that is passionate about the trade that gets burnt out from it because they don't feel like they're being successful and they're not set up for success. So now you have someone that's got a bad taste about the trade.
Yeah.
You got somebody who has a bad taste about the company.
Absolutely.
And you have somebody who has a bad taste about wanting to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Those three things are really important to us.
Yeah.
And so we don't push people out of the nest before they're ready. But typically what we've seen is about an 18-month cycle. So that's 18 months of straight overhead, of training hours, helping them get tools, pouring knowledge into them. But what we have seen is in that typical like 18-month cycle. So we just did kind of closed one out. So I guess 3.5 weeks ago, in preparation for the summer, we just rolled out 5 new technicians.
Wow.
Every single one of them was grown in-house. And now we have 5 more, in addition to all the other ones, revenue-producing vehicles that are on the road now.
Wow.
And they are geared up because they are moving up in their career. They are excited because they feel equipped with the knowledge, the tools, the resources that they need to be successful. But they also know that they have an entire team behind them to call on when they have a question or when they come across something that you just cannot prepare for. Because there's always going to be the things that are your typical like everyday. It's like, oh, okay, this is a little mundane. I know what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you can show up one day and see something you've never seen before. And we have some of our senior technicians that happens to as well. But
I think that's one of the things that makes the jobs that we do so exciting.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's never dull. That is for sure. That's kind of something we all kind of have to say as a joke sometimes, but it's true. It's never dull. And so we have all of these people who are behind this now new technician that's rolled out, that is in his own van. He feels in control of his career. And so that recreating yourself models worked really well for us. We also took a step back and said, okay, this upcoming generation is not like the generations that came before it.
Yeah.
It is very different, operates differently. Your Gen Zs think differently, they are raised differently, and they want different things.
Yeah.
And if
We talked about that a little. They want authenticity.
they do.
They really do.
And it's something that I think every person in our company, especially every leader in our company, truly believes in.
Yeah.
If you go to my office, it is laminated on the back of my computer screen. So anybody that sits in my office has to stare at it. There's two things. One, it says that invest in your people like they're going to leave you, and then make sure that they don't. Because you can give people everything in the world. You can throw more money at them. You can give them whatever they want, but that's only going to buy a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Because if they're not happy with the culture and how they're moving up and how they're progressing, then you're not doing the right thing. And that's not a them thing, that's a you thing. And you've got to be able to take ownership of the fact that we're not doing enough to make these people want to be here. So have the right culture, make sure that you're setting them up for success. And then the next thing is nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
I know it's a cliche, but it's true.
It is so true. It is so true. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't care about that individual and their success, they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
And so that's something that every person in our company really functions from, and I think everybody in our company's probably heard me say it at least 100 times, and they're usually, okay, Ashley, I've heard this again. Nobody cares how much you know. And I'm like, all right, I know you're tired of hearing it.
But you have to repeat it over and over again because we naturally get away from it. And so I have a hard question for you. What is your retention rate on that investment? Like, you're investing in those people for roughly 18 months. You have 5 of them that you're launching out right now. You've done this a couple of times. And is what I mean is, how many of those people stay?
Sure. So in the past 3 years, I double checked my numbers before because I got curious after our conversation a couple weeks ago. I was like, let me fact check myself. So we do have about 36% of our company that's been in business for 79 years that is Gen Z.
Okay.
Which is a big chunk.
That is huge.
In the past almost 4 years, because our fiscal year is March 31st, so I've got a couple numbers I'm still working on wrapping up. Our workforce has increased by about 40%, and that includes some people retiring out, that includes some people leaving, and our turnover rate is less than 8%.
Okay. So the moral of the story here is it's working.
It is working. And it took us, everybody was a little skeptical. Of
Well, I'm skeptical.
Yes,
I mean,
and it's,
you're talking about time, money, resources. That's a big investment.
Well, I think the biggest thing, especially with like this next generation of people that are coming up in this younger group, they want to feel like they are in control of their own destiny, their own success. So we did a few other things. So we have a career chart that is black and white. And so it takes them from somebody off the street who doesn't even know what a screwdriver is or knows how to read a tape measure. And it gives you a pay range and a skill set. Okay, in order to move up, these are the things you need to be able to do. Okay, let's go from a trainee to a helper. At this helper point, let's go from a helper to a level 1, all the way up to a team lead plus whatever it may be, a salesperson. And then usually by the time they're a helper, we're like, okay, where do you want to be? 1, 3, 5 year goals. And that's like definitely a cliche. But what works for us is the fact if I know where you want to be, I know what we need to do to make sure that you get there. So like we have
that communication piece is so important.
It's huge. And if somebody feels like they're being supported in their career and their career growth, but they're in control of it. So when someone sits down and says, well, I need more money. Okay, this is my favorite conversation to have with people. And typically like managers will pull out these career charts we have and say, okay, you're currently in this category. Let's go through these skills. Let's go through these tasks, these certifications, these things that you need to have to progress. Checking a box. Okay, well, here's what you need to do to achieve this next level. Okay, it's a black and white conversation. Everybody truly knows what they need to do to move up. I mean, we've had people who have moved up in 6 months and get 6 raises.
Wow.
And it's because they're just go-getters. That's what they want. And they can move quickly, and that's great. And then they reach a point, and usually some people will reach a point and they get a little complacent. And then they start to kind of slide down the scale. Okay, well, if you slide down the scale, we'll have a conversation and say, hey, just know this chart can be a sliding scale. And usually those conversations, we've never had anybody slide back on the scale, but we've had the conversation of like, hey, if this is the level you want to perform at, this is the level we will put you at because we're going to match where you want to be.
Yeah.
And you are in control of that. And so that control piece for the employee has been nice because they know what it takes to continue to progress and what needs to make a difference, what they need to do. And so it's been really helpful for us. And then also...
So you really spell it out.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that's something... So listen, I was a field guy. I started in the field, and it seems so daunting sometimes to take the time to write those things down. But that's so essential in being able to make that clear communication to your team.
Sure. No,
Yeah.
and we have some of our division managers sat down and did it for their divisions, and we all kind of got around the table, and it was like, okay, what are we missing?
Yeah.
And it was still making sure that we're talking about the certifications or whatever it may be. And some of them, like, there's no one size fits all. So
Yeah.
there's some flexibility to them. But all of our division managers, all of our leaders that are within our organization know their people and the people that they work alongside well enough to know where those flexibilities need to happen. And usually it's a conversation of like, hey, you can do this, we can do this. Here's what you need to be successful, whatever it may be. And so it is something that is allows for people to still show up and bring their human to work. We're not robots. We're not just checking the boxes.
Yeah.
And
come
so
on.
like that's super helpful is the fact that there is some flexibility to it, but it does take the hard piece of the conversation of like, instead of it being like, well, I deserve a raise. Well, what if I don't think you deserve a raise? At this point, it's what I think and what you think.
Yeah.
Well, where are we going to find this middle ground of what you think and what I think and what we think is right? And if you don't know what I'm thinking, because you're not a mind reader,
Come on.
it makes it
Come on.
harder. And
Yeah.
so if you make that more black and white, okay, I know that I need to do these 5 things to move to this next level. Great. Okay, let me accomplish these 5 things. Hey, I did these 5 things. I'm ready to move up. You did those 5 things. You're moving up. Great.
Yeah.
And so it's that, like, it makes the conversation easier. It also allows for us to, if somebody is disgruntled or upset, it makes it a lot easier to have conversations because they're already comfortable with having
Right.
some conversations with their managers and the people that are working alongside them and above them to be able to say, hey, like, this isn't jiving.
Well, and you've even put those boundaries that we talked about earlier on paper.
Yeah.
So that I would think that probably makes it easier for your managers to have hard conversations. A lot of companies that I talk with that are struggling with success, it usually is coming from not having the hard conversations you need to have. And that can be difficult depending at what level of leadership you're in, whether you're managing people or at what division you're in and how you're working with that. When you give them that paperwork and that scale, there's a place to start from. And that's huge
Sure.
to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah, well, and it opens a conversation too between it's again kind of going back to people sometimes don't just need to know what they need to be successful in their career, but okay, well, if you are moving up in your career, do you know what a budget is?
Yeah.
Do you know how
Yeah.
to personally handle things outside of these walls?
Yeah.
Because if you're struggling outside of here, again, it's going to come full circle. It always does.
Yeah.
And so if we make sure that even those little life lessons are happening, and those always come out in those conversations, like, hey, where
Yeah.
do you want to be? Okay, well, what does it take to get you there? Like, it's very fluid, but it works to where everyone is a human. You get to have those conversations. I want you to be successful, period. Not,
Yeah.
I want you to be successful for Lawson. I want you to be successful, period. And that's, I mean, every person in our team feels and operates that way, and it works well for us. And I think that younger generation appreciates that because it is that, like you said, genuine, it's authentic, because we truly mean what we say, and we're going to be able to back it up, and it makes it easier. And also now that, okay, A, they're in control, B, when they are moving up, they're getting that gratification.
Yeah.
We live in culture across, you have your phone in front of you, it's that instant gratification. If Amazon cannot deliver it tomorrow, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
And we get customers to call in, well, if you can't be here in 10 minutes. Wow, okay, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We don't even have anybody that's 10 minutes away from your house. You're not even 5 minutes from our office.
Yeah.
Like, it's that instant gratification. But they're also, that younger generation likes to be recognized and wants to be able to see that. And so by changing up our structure a little bit to where they have either somebody that is with them and recognizing as they progress in their career all the time, they get that instant, like, hey, you did a great job today. And they're like, oh, I did a good job today. That was great. And it's helpful. And usually that comes up the chain to their division manager, up the chain to me or whoever it may be, which is nice. And then it's also like you have this whole idea of you're getting recognized immediately. That dopamine, that's that feel good, and they're going to be energized.
So it's
by
a
that.
real thing, and I think that I'm going to ask you a question that I already know the answer to, but because we talked about this, when we hear this, we're like, yeah, you know, people feeling appreciated and whatnot, and it feels sometimes like it's dumb. I mean, maybe there's I wish I could use more eloquent words, but it feels like Yeah, well, that feels inauthentic to share appreciation that way. But yet, I think people are starving so much for that affirmation, and we're not giving it the way that we think we are. And so you guys implemented something that I would say is kindergarten-esque. It would be the words that I would use. But it really was effective, wasn't it? You almost thought it was a joke, didn't you?
I literally ordered them as a joke. So if there's one thing that anybody takes away from this, if you go online, order gold star stickers.
Come on.
They have our logo on them, and they say Gold Star Award. I ordered them as a joke and got like a few sheets of them, passed them around to the office, and I was like, oh, this will be funny.
Yeah.
We have people that fight over getting stickers. We have a division that has a sticker chart. People put them on their hard hats like they're football helmets.
Wow.
And so we've got Lawson Gold Star stickers. The first time I gave one out to somebody. It's just an instant above and beyond, hey, you did a good job, I appreciate you, here's a sticker. I
Yeah.
gave one out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the tech looked at me and he said, I wish you would have given me this tomorrow morning so I could wear it all day. I will cut one out. I'll give you another one. Well, I wanted to wear it for the day. Here's another one. You can wear this one tomorrow. And I was like, oh. And we got them as a joke. I've reordered those things so many times because we keep running out of them. All of our division managers have them. Our mid-level managers have them. I have a stack that sits in my office. It's just that very small, doesn't seem like it's impactful, but it's something tangible. And
Wow.
it's like I can see it. And then other people are going to see it. Other people
Yeah.
see this Gold Star sticker, walk around with it, whatever it may be, and it's something that seems so small. It truly was a joke. We did not think it was going to be a thing that took off. And here we are a year and a half later, and we still continue to order Gold Star sticker awards.
I think that's really revealing to how desperate culture is for affirmation.
Oh, absolutely.
In good work. We really should be more aware of it because Facebook started it. Instagram is doing it. It's like, what do they call the things that people do?
Oh,
that
the
people,
likes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and people eat, sleep, and breathe for that. And it's like, you're doing it for something that, and listen, I'm on Instagram. I wish that it didn't work that way, but it does, even for me, the likes. But it's like, you're doing it for something that matters so much more than a picture or a post or anything like. You're doing it for, hey, you've contributed to the team. You've contributed to an individual that we went out to serve. You've contributed to society in a positive way, in a positive culture, and you've become a part of the Lawson legacy that will live beyond you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the Lawson legacy is a great piece to talk about. So LD Lawson founded the company in 1946. He came back from World War II, and HVC was not the norm. But he dove headfirst into it. It's worked, and we were able to kind of continue it. And
Sorry, just 1 second.
you're
Okay. Don't worry.
perfect.
Don't worry.
I can talk fast. I'm from the South.
Oh, you're fine. We'll go through it just fine because it's my podcast. We'll stay as long as we want.
Boom.
And he didn't have the headphones on, so he didn't hear me say that.
Makes the rules.
So I'm sorry. You were talking about the Lawson legacy. Yeah.
LD Lawson started the company in 1946. Forrest came here. Lawson actually installed the first HVC system in Hall County.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool legacy to be built on. And there's also being the first, we kind of pioneer ourselves off of being the pioneer continuously.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of changing our business model, we want to be the leader in the industry continuously, but we're not going to gatekeep all of our secrets because we're only as good as the next person behind us and around us. And there is only so much that we can do. We do a lot, don't worry. But still, and it's the whole idea of you want to make the industry better. And I think that is a legacy piece of what we do. So LD carried a poem in his wallet, and it's this little thing we have framed in our office called the Bridge Builder. The poem is from 1898.
So I love poetry, so I'm going to look this up.
Called the Bridge Builder, and it's a longer poem, but I'll kind of give you the synopsis. So the whole idea is there's a fisherman who has to build a bridge over a river that he had to cross. It was very difficult. He didn't build the bridge for himself. He wasn't building it for the ability to cross over and make his life easier. He was building it for the person behind him.
Come on.
So the person behind him was going to get that benefit, and it was going to be a little bit easier for somebody who was going to be able to cross that river later. And so that's a culture thing for us. The whole idea of what we do now, we aren't necessarily doing always for our benefit or for the advancement of exactly what we're doing now, but for the ones that are going to come up behind us and the ones that are, it's going to be a little bit easier for them.
Yeah.
And that's not just Lawson's culture, but truly how we operate, whether it be the way that we impact within like the trade partnerships we have, like with Hall County School System and like the Tool Expo, and coming out and do this every year. I mean, this is a partnership we've had for years. But we have a booth down here at Tool Expo, and we have 4 people that are field workers in our team that are here. One of them is our residential superintendent. One of them is an installer. One of them is a service technician. And then we also have one of our managers down there. And they're all kind of floating. 2 of those people came from this program.
Come on.
And one of them was actually at the Skills Challenge. And he is one of our best service technicians. Just, I mean, he's wonderful, but has the best attitude.
Yeah.
He was in a HVC competition that was up here and came and shook our manager's hand and said, "I'm going to win this competition." And he was like, "All right, little high schooler, you're going to win this competition." He did not win the competition, but what he did win was a job.
Come on.
Because he had the right attitude.
Yeah,
and so,
there it is. Like, attitude and effort.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. So in the first 90 days, this is a big piece of what we changed to. We're not hiring people for technical skills. We can teach you the trade. We have a lot of smart people that can teach you the trade. We hire for soft skills.
Yeah.
How do you fit into our culture? I can't teach somebody how to fit in our culture. That has to just be there. So in the first 90 days, we look for 3 things, 3 A's: attitude, aptitude, and attendance. That's it.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. And so it's worked. It's been great. But it's this whole kind of culture shift of carrying that legacy of making the future easier for somebody else that's coming up behind you, recreating yourself, being able to make a difference, and then also having the right partnerships, investing in workforce development. Don't recruit talent, grow your talent. Be willing to make that investment, bite the bullet, because it's going to pay you in dividends. And what happens when you take somebody who wants to learn, has the right attitude, they want to learn, they have the aptitude for it, they're going to show up, teach them the trade, you invest in them, they're going to give you that return on investment because they feel the fact that you care about them as an individual and want them to be successful. So why would they leave?
Absolutely.
So you're going to reap the benefits of it. It's going to take a minute, a little bit of time, but all you're doing is building that relationship with that individual so that you can celebrate their wins inside of your building and outside of your building.
Yeah, absolutely. That is phenomenal. I mean, there's a lot of good content that you're sharing, and you're living out your building of the bridge for the ones coming behind you, and you're living out building into people, and it is working financially as well.
It is.
And that's, I think, building people, that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. You have to be patient, but that is the best way to operate, is investing in people and building those technicians, building those people.
Yeah, build the technician and build them up and make sure that they're successful, and the rest follows suit. As long as you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, it comes full circle.
Absolutely.
You don't have to force it.
You might have thought you got out of the last question that I have, but I'm not letting you go without this.
All right.
So what is a mistake that you have made that you're willing to share with those who are listening that you've learned from, that you might be able to share, that they might be able to learn?
I think that there was definitely a point in my life when I wanted to be the smartest person in the room that I was in.
Wow.
And it was, I've always kind of naturally gravitated towards leadership positions, and I'm the oldest sibling. I've got 2 younger sisters, and so I was the bossy one. I was the one in charge.
I'm married to an oldest sibling,
I was making the rules, and what I said went. And my husband now knows it is, I make the rules, it is still what I say. There's some compromise, I promise. But I mean, for the longest time, it was like, okay, well, I want to make myself better and be able to like improve the area I'm around with. But there was definitely a shift between being the smartest person in the room. Like, you can pour out and pour out and pour out and pour out, and you can be building the people that are coming behind you. Yeah. But if you don't have somebody that's also pouring into you and you're growing from and learning from, like, mentorship has to come full circle. And if you're continuously pouring out from an empty cup, you're doing everybody a disservice. Yeah. And so it's the whole idea of something
that's good.
Well, and something that I truly function from is the whole idea of, like, do less and be more. Yeah. Like, if I can show up in 5 rooms and offer more of myself than showing up in 50 rooms and offering you 2%, I'm doing you and myself a disservice. Yeah. And so the best thing that I think is, like, the whole idea of mentorship has to be a full circle. It's not a okay, well, I'm going to help build a bridge for the people behind me. Well, what bridge am I crossing?
Yeah.
Because even if you don't realize it, like all of us are leaders naturally.
Yeah.
Even if you don't recognize that, like there is somebody that, whether you know it or not, is looking at you as their inspiration.
Yeah.
There is somebody that is looking at you and going, I want to be like that
Yeah.
one day. I want to be that person.
Yeah.
And for me, like my mother-in-law has been one of my biggest mentors. She is a precious human being. I adore her. I'm a lot of the way that I am because of working in this industry and the way that she is and the way that she functions and the way that she thinks about things. But she'll look at you and say, well, you're one of my biggest mentors. I know how to work my phone better because of you. I can do all these other things, but like we are consistently learning from each other. And by doing that, I'm being poured into. Okay, well, there's other people that I have that I get to work with that are in a different place in life. I won't say younger because age is just a number, but somebody that's in a different place in life or whatever it may be. Like, okay, if I have the capacity to pour out because there's somebody else that's pouring into me and I'm seeking out ways to fill my cup, I'm only going to continue to benefit the people that I'm truly wanting to benefit in the future, because I think it's the whole idea of like you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
But it's also like if you're continuously gatekeeping knowledge and skills and all these sort of things, and you want to be the person that holds the power in the room and you have all the knowledge, you're only doing yourself a disservice, because that means
Totally
you're getting
agree.
nothing out of that room except being taken from.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a mistake that it took me a little bit of time to figure out, the fact that I didn't want to be the smartest person in the room, that I was only doing myself a disservice, and the people that I was thinking that I was doing a good job for and trying to be impactful for, like I wanted to make a difference. And if I wasn't seeking out ways to be influenced and have an impact or whatever maybe, or truly like mentored and being able to grow for myself, I was not going to benefit anybody, because at some point, like, the cup runs empty.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else once you reach the bottom. And so it's this whole cycle. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I had to learn the hard way, because I definitely reached the point of like I was
Empty.
burnt out. I had nothing to offer. I mean, I came out of college, was involved in college. Hall County has a lot of great things to offer. It's a fantastic community. I'm very biased about it. I came out, and in my first year, I got married, moved into a new house, went full-time at my job, and I was on 14 boards.
Wow.
And
14?
14. And I was like, I am going to offer something to these spaces, and I'm going to help make a difference. And it's not just for me, but I'm going to, like, I want to show up in a room because I have something to offer. But at the same time, it's that whole balance of, okay, well, take a step back. Like, make sure you're doing this full circle. Like, you can pour out what's being poured into you at the same time. Be intentional in where you're seeking that.
Yes.
Take a step back. Do less. Be more. And you're going to have a bigger impact.
Ashley, thank you so much for stepping up to the line.
Absolutely.
This is good stuff that you're talking about here. I encourage you, if you're listening to this, take what she said to heart. If you want to build a bridge for others to cross over, if you want to have your own legacy, which is a legacy is something that's here after you're dead. Mm-hmm. And so the only way to do that is to be intentional and to invest in other people.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ashley, I
Can't
so
do it for
appreciate
yourself.
it.
Got to be
Thank
doing
you.
it for somebody else. And this is great. No, thank you.
Thanks.